In today's class, we will be talking about different topics. Is ethical dilemma. When we started our discussion about this course, we briefly discussed ethical dilemma, and today we'll see that there are certain conditions that have to be uh, satisfied in order to declare any situation as ethical dilemma. So today we will see that what are those conditions. And this ethical dilemma is basically a topic interconnected with the moral issues that we discussed in last class. So the points or the skills that we need to deal with ethical dilemma are the same as that of dealing with with moral issues. So this definition could have been coupled with the definition of moral issue, but we did not talk about that at that time. So I thought that this is the right time to discuss ethical dilemma because we have just discussed the moral issues. Uh, so what is ethical dilemma? It says that there are three conditions that must be present in a situation to be considered as an ethical dilemma. And we already know that the word dilemma basically means a confusion. It's a confusion or a problem whenever we have a difficulty of making choice. In general, that condition is known as dilemma. And in particular, what is ethical dilemma? So here are the three conditions. The first condition is the agent must decide about which course of action is best. Here by agent we mean the person or the individual who is in that situation. And in this point, the emphasis on decide. It means that if you are in a difficult situation, but it is possible to remain in a condition of indecision, then that is not considered as ethical dilemma. So for ethical dilemma, you must be in a condition or in a situation where you have to make a decision. Decision is mandatory. Okay. Second condition is multiple course of actions. Like for any conditions to be considered as ethical dilemma, there should be multiple options available. Sometimes we are in uncomfortable situations, but there are no multiple options. There is only one option available. If that's the case, that is not considered as ethical dilemma. So the presence of multiple options is important. And third is choice of any course of action leads to compromising some ethical principle. So you have multiple options and you have to choose one. And the third condition is that when you choose one and you leave the other, it leads to compromising some of the ethical principles. Okay, so if some ethical principle is compromised in that situation, then that particular condition is termed as ethical dilemma. I was reading some stuff on ethical dilemma, and I found an example in that article. And that example was that let's say you prepare for a very important interview, let's say CSS interview, right? And in that interview, for that interview, you have prepared probably for years. You have appeared in the exam, you have passed the exam. Now you have a very important interview, and you don't have a chance of reappearing in that interview. And let's say uh, you are going for the interview, and you see that an accident happens in front of you, and nobody is there to help the person who is injured. Only you are there. So now, what will you do? Will you help the person who is in need of help, or you will go to your interview? If you uh, go to your interview, go and attend your interview, then and you do not help the person who was in need of your help, so you are compromising one ethical principle. And uh, if you stop there and help that person, then you sacrifice your self-interest. And by the way, following your self-interest is also ethical. So it's ethically correct that you follow your self-interest, because you are an individual, you are a person, plus you have responsibilities, you have dependents. So it is also following your self-interest is not something unethical. It is totally ethical. Rather, you should follow your self-interest. The only thing is that you should not be following your self-interest in in a wrong way or in an illegal way. As long as you are within following your self-interest is totally fine and it's ethical. So in that situation, whatever you choose, you will be compromising one of the ethical principles. So that condition is, or that situation is termed as an ethical dilemma. In our last class, uh, we considered a couple of examples related to moral issues as well, and those are also quite close to the ethical dilemma. And we'll see a couple of more examples here as well. First one, suppose that you are in charge of a project, you are working on a site, and the project is running behind the schedule, and the reasons are beyond your control, you cannot do anything about that. And your boss comes to the site and he asks you to uh, get the project done by any means. Now, the emphasis is on by any means. Uh, if you look at the task required to be completed and the time schedule, you are sure that you will not be able to complete it unless you cut around some corners. By cutting some corner means you compromise on the quality or quantity of work. Now, what will you do? Will you uh, will you not compromise on the quality of work and you let the project delay, or you will compromise on the quality or quantity of work and complete it within time? So this situation, now whatever you do, if you do not listen to your boss, then you might lose your job. And again, you have responsibilities, you have dependents, you have bills to pay. So what should you do? Uh, should you uh, leave that job, uh, or you should compromise on the quality of the work? So in both the conditions, in one case you will be compromising your self-interest, and in the other case you will be compromising your duty and your moral responsibility of completing the work with all its requirements. So whatever you choose, you will be compromising on some of the ethical principle. And this situation is again an example of a ethical dilemma. Okay, and then there is another example. Again, in civil engineering perspective, let's say you are in charge of a project and you are having budget problems, running low on the budget for that project. Now you want to buy some material and you have two choices available. One choice is to buy an expensive material which is durable and environment friendly. Second material is relatively cheap, but it is not fully developed yet. So it may be less durable or it may be harmful for the environment. You're not 100% sure about that. Now, what should you do? Should you compromise on the quality of the project, or uh, you should face the financial loss? In both the cases, you will be uh, you will be making some compromise. So whenever you have such situation in which you have to make a compromise by making one of the choices, that condition is termed as ethical dilemma. Now, somebody asked that what should we do to resolve such ethical dilemmas? The points that we discussed or the skills that we discussed in last class related to the solution of moral issues, same points are valid for the solution of ethical dilemma as well. And plus, there is another factor that plays an important role in such situations, and that is uh, your own work ethic or your own moral principles or moral integrity. The people of high moral integrity might say that, okay, I will not compromise on the quality of work, even if I have to sacrifice my job or I have to face some financial loss, but I will not compromise on the quality. But some other people who do not have that strong work ethic or that uh, uh, high morals, they may think about compromising on the quality of the work. So both of the things happen. Ideal cases, you don't make compromise on the quality of work, but practically in our industry, both kinds of examples are there. Rather, in fact, most of the people compromise on the quality of work. So, as we discussed earlier, these moral things are mostly these moral standards are defined by our own self, and basically these moral standards govern in such cases. So this was something about moral dilemma, ethical dilemma. Anybody having any question about this or any comments about this? Let me see how many attendees are there in our class. Okay, 38 attendees. So does anybody want to comment on this or any question, or you want to give another example of ethical dilemma that you might have seen anywhere or you have experienced by yourself? Anything? No? Somebody turned on his mic.
यस सर सर मेरे
जी.
माइंड में आ रहा है कि अगर सर अगर क्लास की बात की जाए तो लेट्स सपोज असाइनमेंट की डेडलाइन करीब हो तो असाइनमेंट सम हो ना कंप्लीट हुई हो तो वो किसी की असाइनमेंट करके सबमिट करवा देना इट्स गुड आर के वो सर से अगर सर उसको डेट को एक्सटेंड भी ना कर रहे हो तो क्या करना चाहिए उस सिचुएशन में
देखिए सबसे पहले तो today we will be talking about one thing that's known as procrastination. We'll talk about that. And this problem is basically, this problem arises when you delay your work and you do not start your work at proper time and you wait till the deadline comes. And anyways, even if the deadline is close, uh, then copying work or plagiarism is not ethical at all. And plagiarism is not just unethical, it's actually illegal. Illegal is something beyond unethical. Okay. So submitting copied work is unethical, no matter what is the situation. You might like request the teacher, but in every case, the teacher might not entertain your request, and there might be several different reasons for that. But whatever is the situation or condition, submitting copied or plagiarized work is not acceptable. It's unethical. Okay, and not only unethical, but as I said, it's illegal. And if it is proved to be plagiarized, normally in our part of the world, we do not take any strict action against that, or the rules or the law is not very strict. But abroad, if any such thing is proven, then strict action might be taken against the student committing that plagiarism. Okay, so yeah, that's not acceptable. Okay, any other thing? Okay. All right. If not, then let's move on. Today, the next topic that we will be talking about is work ethic. Have you guys ever heard about this term work ethics? Even if you haven't, then this term is like kind of self-explanatory. So, has anybody heard about work ethics? What are work ethics? Or what do we mean by work ethics? Or even if you have not heard about this, what idea do you get when you hear this word, work ethics?
Your behavior while working in an organization.
Your behavior while working in an organization. Okay, that's close. Actually, your behavior is a part of your work ethics. So work ethic is a bit larger, or it's a bit broader than just behavior. Okay, let's discuss that. What do we mean by work ethics? All right. So work ethic is an attitude of dedication towards one job. There are several ways of defining work ethics because it's a kind of general thing. But one of the definition is that when you work dedicatedly on your job, we say that you have strong work ethic. If you do not work with dedication or determination or with hard work, or you do not work professionally, we say you have a poor work ethic. Okay, and as like most of you, when you will graduate, you will be doing some job, or even if you are running your own business. In order to be successful, all of us have to have a strong work ethic. If we have poor work ethic, we will not be able to be successful at any position. And the people with strong work ethic, they can be successful for any position, and they attain a much higher level in their professional life. That is why it is important for everybody to have strong work ethic. And this work ethic is basically like different. It's not just about employee. It's about the employee as well as the organization. So the responsibility of developing good work ethics in an organization lies on both the parties, on the organization and on the employee. And there are certain rules that both the parties have to keep in mind in order to develop strong work ethic. And we will see those rules in this topic today. Those with strong work ethic place a high value on their professional success. They exhibit moral principles that make them outstanding employees in any position. So the people who have high work ethic, they achieve higher position in their or higher, they have higher achievements in their professional life. And let's see what those work ethics are. And yes, what are the benefits? There are several benefits of having strong work ethic, and a couple of benefits are, if an organization has good or strong work ethics, then the productivity of the organization as well as the professionals working in that organization is high. And secondly, a very good team is developed in that organization because strong work ethic result in good cooperation among the team members. So these are the two main advantages of having good work ethics. As I said earlier, that there are two perspectives of work ethics. One is from the organization side, and the other is from the employee side. So let's see what are the responsibilities of an organization in order to nourish good work ethics in the organization. Okay, first is uniform rules and regulations. The organization, whatever organization is you're working in, that organization should have uniform rules and regulations. There should not be any pick and choose between the people. Like, for example, if you are working in an big engineering organization, there might be several, or surely there would be several cadres of engineers, like senior engineers and junior engineers and chief engineer or principal engineer. And there will be some technical staff having some diploma holders. Then there will be some non-technical staff. Then there will be some administrative people at the top. So whatever or how many, whatever cadres are there, for all of them, there should be, like for every cadre, there should be uniform rules and regulations. That should be well defined, and everybody should feel that he will be treated with justice in that organization. That is the first important thing. Second is, all those rules should be clearly communicated to the employees of that organization, so that they know that how they will be treated in different cases. For example, if you talk about in your perspective, now there are several rules that the university has defined for all the students, similarly for the teachers, and it is extremely important for all the students to know all those rules. For example, what are your dues for every semester? What is the deadline to pay your dues? What is the deadline to register subjects for any semester? And within how much time you can withdraw any subject? What are the rules regarding I grade or regarding W grade or regarding freezing your semester or regarding any sick leaves or anything like that? So all these rules, like when defined rules should be there, and these rules should be clearly communicated to the employees or all the members of that organization. Third, certain level of degree of freedom should be there for the employees. Now, in the current scenario, I think a lot of employees have a lot of degree of freedom now. When like earlier, for example, even like teachers and students, we were bound to come on the campus and have classes. But now we have flexibility. This happened, although this happened due to COVID-19, but uh, in our environment, but in other countries or in developed world, such flexibility was already there, and there were a lot of people who had that flexibility in their jobs for working from home. Like I have experienced that thing by myself. Like in my university abroad, a lot of students used to work from home, and even a lot of employees used to work from home. All you need is to you stay online, and but in that case, you need to have strong work ethic. Strong working from home does not mean a vacation. Working from home it's only mean that you are not in the office, but you are at home, but you have to work. You have to remain online. You have to communicate, just as if you're sitting in the office over the email. Very frequent communication is there. So whatever flexibility is possible or whatever freedom is possible, the employees should be given that freedom. In that case, they'll feel more comfortable, and they will, if they have good work ethic, they will be able to contribute in a better way to that organization. Last thing is clear and uniform holiday schedule. Now, when you are an employee of any organization, holiday schedule is important for you, because we are not just employees, we have personal lives too, and we have a lot of personal stuff to do. So we should be knowing that what would be the schedule of the holiday, how many sick leaves are allowed, or if there are some earned leaves or there are some casual leave, if we can get some duty leave or station leave. When you will join any organization, you will come to know that there are several different types of leaves, and even for you guys, like as a student, there are different kinds of leave that you can avail. So we need to have a clear understanding and clear communication of all those leaves. Okay, so these are some of the things which are required at the organization level in order to develop strong work ethic. Anybody having any comments on that? Or if you think I have missed anything regarding the development of this good work ethic, if you are working in an organization, what would you expect from that organization, like other than these things that I've just mentioned? Okay, Hamza. Hamza, are you there? Hamza Niaz? Okay, so Hamza, what do you think? Like beyond these points, if you are working in any organization, would you like to have any other facility from the organization? Like, what would you like as an employee? Okay, you mean there should be a clear uh, system of reward and maybe punishment as well. Okay, yeah, but all right, and you're right. Um, some of the, and I would say a lot of the private organizations have such mechanisms, but public sector organizations normally uh, they don't have a well-defined system for such rewards. Some of the incentives are there. Yes, I won't say that no incentives are there, but depending upon the performance of the employees, public sector organizations also have some incentives, but at times there is more manipulation in those incentives. Some are very clear, hard and fast, but some have some manipulation. However, in the private sector organization, we have a better system of this. So that's a good point, Hamza. Okay. Any other point? Moin Awes. Okay, or Mubin, you raise your hand.
Sir, can work security be a part of work ethics in an organization?
Uh, Job security. Actually, it is job security is in the benefit of employee, but it has a it has a trade-off. It has advantages as well as disadvantages. But as an employee, like as an employer myself, job security, I feel that's very important and that's very comforting for the employees. But on the other hand, the employers think that a secure job makes employees lazy, and the employees who feel a bit insecure, they are like in the employer's perspective, they think that they are more productive. Once people get secure jobs, their productivity comes low. But as an employee, that's true. If we have, like, there is another side as well. If as an employee, if you have a secure job and you have peace of mind and you see your job as a career job that you will be spending maybe your lifetime in that organization, then in that sense you might contribute more to that organization because you feel yourself as a part of that organization. Whereas, but then there is the other side. Some people who think, okay, now I've got a secure job, whether I really work hard or not, I have got my permanent position. So it has its own pros and cons. But yeah, again, it's a valid point that having good job security as an employee, it's something that we look for as an employee. Okay, Uzair.
Sir, there should be a proper feedback system in the organization.
Feedback system. Okay, yeah, that's also good. That's good. If organizations take feedback from their employees and pay due respect to that feedback, make changes, whatever are required, then definitely that will improve the working environment of the organization. That's good, right? Okay. Any other point? Gee, somebody raised his hand. Let me see. Umar, Umar.
Trust and mutual respect for your colleagues at your job.
Sorry, Umar, I could not understand.
Uh, Trust and mutual respect for your colleagues at your job.
Trust and mutual respect for your colleagues, right? That's true. Actually, that comes from the employee's perspective, right? That's something that the organization will not like. It's not from the organization end, rather it is from the employees end. If and that's something that we are going to discuss next. That what are our responsibilities as an employee in order to develop good work ethic in our organization. So let's see. Let's move to that.
Sir, overtime bonus is work ethic or not from an organization?
I mean, if now, okay, let me. In our country, in
Yes, sir.
like in a lot of organizations, like they don't give overtime bonus. There are some organizations who give overtime bonus, or there are some organizations, especially in private sector organization, who which if they call their employees on weekend, they give uh, like corresponding to 1 day salary, 1 day of work, they give salary of 2 days. I know some of the organizations, especially in IT sector, because IT sector is a bit rich sector, so they offer such incentives. In public sector organizations, normally we do not have any overtime incentives. That is why most of the people are not interested in doing overtime. But yeah, if that culture, if sometime organization demands its employees to do overtime, then overtime should be paid, and if it is done, that will definitely improve the motivation of the employees. That's true. Okay, all right. Let me come back to the PowerPoint. So how to develop strong work ethic, and this is from the employee's perspective. So first thing is be professional about your work. That's the first thing. Now, what do we mean by professional? Being professional. Yes, I would like to take your feedback on this. When I say be professional, what do you think? What does it mean? It's a common term. We use it very frequently. Or what is a good professional, in other words? Gee, somebody unmute his mic.
Sir, being relevant to your purpose.
Being relevant by, what do you mean by being relevant?
Sir, being relevant to your purpose, to your job, what you are intending to do.
Oh, by this you mean like minding your own business?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so mind your own business, or in other words, stay focused on your work. And another side of it, that do not waste your time in the distractions. Be focused on your work. Yeah, that's true. That's desirable. As a good professional, you should be focused on work. You should try to avoid distractions. These days we have multiple type of distractions. We'll talk about some of them in a short while. But okay, that's right. We should be focused on our work. What else? User.
Sir, we should follow the rules and regulations as prescribed by our organization.
That's true. A good professional follows the rules and regulations of the organization that he is working in. That's very right. What else?
So you should be loyal to your organization rather than anyone else.
Be loyal to your organization. Okay. Um, Now, different people have different perspective about this. Loyalty, you should be honest, you should be committed, you should do your work with the in the best possible quality. But some people say that loyalty, as long as you are part of that organization, you should never harm that organization. You should not go like do any activity which is not good for that organization. But loyalty actually means that staying at that staying in that organization like forever. That's what loyalty means actually. So people have different ideas about that. That you don't have to be loyal to your organization. If you find a good opportunity, just move ahead. Okay. So that's the other side of it. But anyways, I got your idea. So let's see the points that I have. So being professional, first thing is you need to be reliable and honest. You should be honest about your work, whatever you are doing, in whatever capacity you are doing, whether you are a technical person or a non-technical person or doing some administrative job or whatever is job, you should do your work with honesty and you should be reliable. Reliable is a person on which we can depend. We can depend upon that. Okay, for example, if I assign a task to some person, so and if that person is reliable, then I don't need to be worried about that. I have that confidence in him that he will do that work in its best quality. Okay. And second thing is deliver the best output. It's again close to reliable that whenever you are given any task, you should deliver the best output and you should do good quality work or excellent quality work consistently. When you do good quality work consistently, that helps you earn respect and good reputation in your organization. So a good professional has good reputation and respect in his organization. And for that, you need to do your work honestly, you have to be reliable, and you need to do give your best consistently. Okay. Next thing is time management. If you want to develop high work ethic, it's important that you manage your time in an efficient way. And what are different things which are important for time management? Uh, Set yourself deadlines for delivering even small tasks. When we are working in an organization, we are assigned several different types of works. At times we have deadlines given by our organization, but sometimes we are assigned some tasks which are open-ended. No deadlines are there. So in such cases, a good professional set a deadline for himself, and then he works accordingly. Because if we leave the things open-ended, then it's very likely that we will delay that work like indefinitely, and that is not expected from a good professional. So whenever deadline is there, meet that deadline. If deadline is not there, set up a deadline by yourself. Okay. Prioritize your task. If you have 10 things to do and you are thinking about all those 10 things all the time, then that will that will that will bring a lot of stress into your life. And you can see this to do face on your screen, right? So it will make you grim and upset and sad and frustrated. So whenever you have whatever things you need to do, prioritize them. If you are thinking about everything all the time, that will adversely affect your time management. Okay, for example, if you are studying 5 subjects in this semester, and three of the teachers have assigned you homeworks or assignments. Now you need to prioritize that which one has earlier deadline, whose deadline is later, how much time is required for any one of the assignment, and then you plan your work accordingly. Okay, and same is the case in your professional life. Next thing about time management is avoid procrastination. Now, it's already, I think from the slide, you can see that what do we mean by procrastination. By the way, have you guys heard about procrastination before? It's it's not a technical term, it's a general term in English. Procrastination, laziness, yeah, okay, yes, you were saying something else? At the last post, delaying your work. That's the exact meaning of procrastination. That you keep on delaying your work till the deadline comes, and then um, the work that you do at the time when the deadline is really near, the quality of that work is really poor. Okay, so procrastination is one of the deadliest habits, and a lot of the people, or probably all of us, are indulged in procrastination like at some of the times, right? So procrastination, when you keep on delaying your work because of your laziness or because of the distraction, so that negative habit is termed as procrastination. And especially in the current time, we have a lot of distractions. Maybe earlier, the human beings did not have so many distractions. So what are the different distractions, by the way, that normally distract you from your work, from doing your assignment, or preparing from your exam? Anybody? What are the common distractions that we have?
Sir, social media and sleep.
Social media, yeah. So and sleep. Some people, yeah, sleep. That's also true. Some people are really fond of sleeping. And social media like Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp, uh, YouTube, uh, so all, and Twitter. All these things, like you might think that okay, I'll just check my Facebook for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, but you just open it and you just keep on scrolling down and looking at posts by other people, most of which are not very important for you, but you just keep on scrolling down and looking at the feeds, and you realize that 30 minutes or an hour has passed by, and you had a plan of just looking at that thing for about 10 minutes maybe, but these things are very distracting. And I was reading some stuff and watching some videos on procrastination, and I found an interesting video on that. Have you guys ever heard about TED Talk? I hope most of you would have heard about TED Talks, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So on TED, like those of you who have never heard a TED Talk, like TED is a platform that who publish these talks, and these are most of the time these are very interesting, and you will find talk probably about anything on the TED Talk. So I would like to just run a TED talk for a couple of minutes or 2-3 minutes, and I would suggest you guys to watch that video. That is very, they have the person in that, the presenter has explained procrastination in a very interesting manner. So let me just run that small video for you guys. That's a bit long, like about 15 minutes long. Yeah, 14 minutes or so. But I'll just run it for a couple of minutes and then I'll send a link for you guys. And you can watch it at the time of your convenience. Okay, let me just share the screen. Oh, wait a minute. I think I did not share the mic. Computer sound. All right, can you guys see the YouTube screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me run this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll just watch it for about 3 minutes. Can you guys hear the voice sound?
Yes, sir.
So in college, I was a government major, which means I had to write a lot of papers. Now, when a normal student writes a paper, they might spread the work out a little like this. So, you get started maybe a little slowly, but you get enough done in the first week that with some heavier days later on, everything gets done and things stay civil. And I would want to do that like that. That would be the plan. I would have it all ready to go, but then actually the paper would come along, and then I would kind of do this. And that would happen every single paper. But then came my 90-page senior thesis, a paper you're supposed to spend a year on. I knew for a paper like that, my normal workflow was not an option. It was way too big a project. So I planned things out, and I decided I kind of had to go something like this. This is how the year would go. So I'd start off light, and I'd bump it up in the middle months. And then at the end, I would kick it up into high gear. It's just like a little staircase. How hard could it be to just walk up the stairs? No big deal, right? But then, funniest thing happened. Those first few months, they came and went, and I couldn't quite do stuff. So we had an awesome new revised plan. And then, but then those middle months actually went by, and I didn't really write words. And so we were here. And then 2 months turned into 1 month, which turned into 2 weeks. And one day I woke up with 3 days until the deadline, still not having written a word. And so I did the only thing I could. I wrote 90 pages over 72 hours, pulling not one, but 2 all-nighters. Humans are not supposed to pull 2 all-nighters. Sprinted across campus, dove in slow motion, and got it in just at the deadline. I thought that was the end of everything. But a week later, I get a call. It's the school. And they say, "Is this Tim Urban?" And I say, "Yeah." And they say, "We need to talk about your thesis." And I say, "Okay." And they say, "It's the best one we've ever seen." That did not happen. It was a very, very bad thesis. I just wanted to enjoy that one moment when all of you thought, this guy is amazing. No, it was very, very bad. Anyway.
All right, I'll just stop it here. So this was an interesting video that I found on procrastination, and even the remaining part is also very relatable because he was explaining his student life. And I think probably all of us have done or have experienced similar things. But the point that I want to make that in your professional life, procrastination can be really deadly, because in our academic life, when we have just assignments and these things, although as a student we feel that these things are extremely important and you should feel that, but really these things, in reality, these things have far less importance as compared to the real life projects, right? So if you if you show the same behavior in your real life projects, in your professional life, then it can be really disastrous. Okay, so let me change the screen. Let's come back to the PowerPoint. And yeah, meanwhile, let me just share the link to this video. I would like you guys to see this video, complete video at the time of your convenience. By the way, how many of you can relate to this? Just raise your hand. And there is, again, nothing negative about this. Okay. I would also raise my hand because I can also relate to this. Okay, so we have a few students, quite a few students. All right, we have a good number of students who can relate to this, and that's true actually. Even like for myself, I can, okay, there are 13 hands raised. All right, I appreciate your honesty. Thank you. Now you can lower your hands. So this happens to us all the time because we are living in a world where we have a lot of distractions, and because of these distractions, we compromise our work and we keep on delaying our work, but ultimately that costs. Okay. All right, so let's move ahead. Let me come back to the presentation. All right, time management, avoid procrastination, and last thing is avoid negative talk and gossip. Yeah, this is very important. In our culture, we see that in organizations, uh, especially in public sector organizations and even in private sector organizations, we see people doing a lot of negative talk and wasting their time in gossip. And these things are really negative. Uh, what I have observed abroad is that in the organizations which have strong work ethic, people do not waste their time in any negative talk or just gossiping around. But in our country, this is pretty common, especially in public sector organization. People uh, waste a lot of time, and this is not only just wastage of time, but it creates a negative energy when you are just talking negative all the time or just backbiting. So that's something that good professionals avoid. All right. So last thing about work ethic is develop good work habits. Even the other habits that we have discussed are good work habits, but there are some other ones that do it now habit. Instead of procrastinating or delaying your work, whenever you get a task, do it now. This is a very good habit. Respect for others, as somebody pointed out earlier, that we should, in a organization with strong work habit, ethics, people respect each other. We need to do our work with determination and dedication. And it's also important that we should hold ourselves accountable and responsible for our work. Like if you hold yourself accountable before others do your accountability, then you will be in a like it will save a lot of embarrassment. If you do not hold yourself accountable by yourself, then in some of the cases you might end up in a very embarrassing situation. Okay. All right. Confidentiality. Every organization has certain confidential information that the organization does not want to leak out. So whenever we are working in that organization, we need to respect the confidentiality of that organization. Okay. So these were some of the things related to the strong work ethic. Anybody having any question about this or comment or anything that you want to suggest? or anything you want to add that I missed, or anything that you disagree with, please go ahead.
Sir, what methods should we adopt to avoid procrastination?
What methods? Okay, there are. Watch this video. The video that I just shared. Like in the later part of the video, the presenter, he expresses that uh, how we can avoid procrastination, and he explains that there are two kinds of procrastinations. One situation is when we have a deadline, and the deadline helps us in overcoming that procrastination. And in some other cases, we do not have deadlines, and in those matters, we use or we experience a lot more significant procrastination. So for that, he suggests to like he presents a calendar in which he says that okay, if you have a 90 years of life, that's just imaginary, and he shows all the weeks that are available to you, and then you can see how many weeks you have already consumed. This is just a hypothetical work, but what he tries to suggest is that we need to set up deadlines, some of the deadlines for ourselves, keeping in view the lifetime that we have already spent and the one that we are expecting. Although we know that we never know how our life will end, but uh, just to overcome the procrastination, we might make an assumption, and then we can work on that. And there is bunch of stuff available online. There are videos and tutorials on this, how to avoid procrastination. Some people say like once I watch a rule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rules rule. And what does that rule say? That when you are doing procrastination, basically your mind is uh, overthinking about any task, and you are assuming it to be extremely difficult. That's why you are unable to start that. So one theory is that you just disrupt that thinking or overthinking, and you count to five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you get up and you start working without thinking anything about that work. So this is one technique. Several such techniques are available. You can just find them online. But and again, it depends upon the people. What I personally do is, and I won't say that I don't experience procrastination. I experience that too. But normally, my way of dealing with it is that normally I try to plan my every single day. Well, let's say today, when I will conclude my work, I will take a small piece of paper and I will write down the things that I want to do tomorrow. And tomorrow I have a schedule, like I might start at 9 o'clock, or in Ramzan, maybe at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's my starting time. So when I start, I just look at that paper, and then I just keep doing that stuff without thinking a lot about those things. And another way of avoiding the distractions that I do, for example, sometimes when I realize that I'm spending a lot of time on Facebook, let's say, I delete Facebook app from my mobile, because mobile is something that is in my access all the time. I'm not sitting on my laptop all the time, but mobile is always with me. So I just uh, delete my Facebook. And I haven't made a lot of social media accounts. Like on social media, I'm just on Facebook. I'm not on Twitter, not on Instagram. Probably years ago I made an account, but I never opened that. So these are the tricks that you might use to avoid procrastination. And everybody might have different things work for different people. Okay. Right, let me unshare the screen and let me mark your attendance. It's exactly 2 o'clock. Okay, your attendance is downloaded. So with this, our time for the class is over. We'll meet in next class, inshallah. Okay, guys, Allah Hafiz.